connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. 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 If we care enough.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black. Your Black.
This is a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. You see, man made the cars.
KBLA Talk 1580. Is it, though? Is it a man's world? I know it feels like a big pivot because we are in the middle of a messy Monday. If you missed my conversations with the district attorney candidates, two of them, we are starting political season now. They will be available wherever you get your podcasts. You can hear from John McKinney and Jeff Chemerinsky, both running to replace DA George Gascon. Right now, though, it is time for Messy Monday. Messy Monday, getting back into the relationship space. What is it? How are people functioning? How are y'all doing this? What are the rules? Are there any rules? I started this when my friend Big John, a.k.a. John Harrell, was on the show talking mad mess about relationships, his do's and don'ts. He has hard and fast rules. And some people love them. Other people were quite upset with things he said. And I said, we ought to do this more often. So it's it's a monthly segment, Messy Monday, my opinionated friends' take on relationships. Well, two gentlemen joining me in studio today to share some insight on this Messy Monday. Kerry Neal is the Chief Change Agent for Keepin It 100 LA Incorporated and a podcaster of something called Urban Birds and Bees. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
That's great to be with you, Dominique.
Great to have you in. It is a beautiful thing. We're also joined by Troy Maurice. He's a romantic comedy writer and writes about about relationships in fiction, right?
Yeah, it's fiction. But Dominic, thank you for having me this morning.
Are you like Taylor Swift? It's reality-based fiction, like you write about your relationships, and then you fictionalize them.
I'm a really cool dude, and people oftentimes will say, "Well, Troy, you have all this information and knowledge. Why are you not married?" And so I think specifically my story is because I think I needed to comprise 20, 30 years worth of knowledge so I could be on your show today.
Either that or you're just a perpetual bachelor.
No, I don't think that's it. I just don't think I met her. But again, I've comprised years of data so I can help other people.
Okay.
And write pretty good romantic comedies.
And we're gonna get some of that knowledge today. Kerry, the stereotype is men don't like talking about this kind of stuff, right? But I think it's not true because I think y'all talk on the phone just as much as we do. It's just people assume you're talking about sports or something.
I think what happens is we as men, we absolutely want to have this conversation. I don't think women really respect what we have to say, nor do you guys really want to hear us. So for instance, let's say if a guy is going to be, vulnerable, kind of share with his thoughts, like say, you do this, it kind of bothers me, whatever else. It somehow gets twisted into a pretzel into how what we're saying is how we make you feel. And now the conversation is about trying to unpack and rewind things in terms of being apologetic and that's not what I meant and so forth. And we never get the point across. So we as men have just learned to sometimes we're just like, let's just kind of sit back. But
so you're saying we're not good listeners?
When it comes to men, that is absolutely the case.
Okay. You know what? I received that. I think that.
I was going to say, do you deny that? Do you deny it?
I just said I received it.
Okay. That's
Are you being a good listener?
Okay. I'm just making sure.
I mean, I think, I'm not going to make sweeping generalizations about women. I'll leave that to you.
Okay.
But I think that, there's a case to be made that it's a fair point that we don't always listen well, especially when we are upset.
Yeah. And then too, I'll also say just really quickly, I'm not sure men can compete with women verbally. I think you guys have us.
Why do you have to compete though?
Well, it's not really a competition. It becomes a competition because a lot of times we don't really get a chance to get our word in, and that's just what ensues. But it shouldn't be. It should just be an exchange, right? And I'm saying that oftentimes when there's conflict, maybe one point is not being understood and things of that nature, it's not uncommon for us to sort of say, look, you know what, let me just kind of get back, because certainly that is sort of a leverage and an advantage that women tend to have over most men, particularly in a relationship
What
space.
is that quizzical look, Troy?
Because I'm never going to disagree totally with anyone, because everyone has a point. But I think, and I never like to speak for anyone, but I think if I'm hearing Kerry right, I think what he's saying is that first of all, we're not taught to emote. That's just something we don't do.
Emote, right?
We don't do.
Very true.
What you guys do much better than us, what you have much better than us, is your emotional intelligence. It's much greater than ours. So not only are we not taught to emote, our emotional intelligence is probably that of a 5-year-old for most men, because we're not taught to have that type of dialogue. Like, what are you feeling? What are you thinking? What?
Right.
What am I feeling?
Right.
Like, if my brother and I just recently got into an argument, and he texted me and said, we can talk about this if you want to, about the argument we had. I'm like, talk about the argument we had? Dude, we argue, and then we fight, we argue, we get it out, and then we go get something to eat. What are you talking about? Why do you want to talk about this? And so that's what you guys
didn't want to
do.
talk it out, hug it out, work it out.
We're dudes. It wasn't that serious. What are you talking about? But when relationship, I'm not that way with my male friends, but with female friends, platonic or otherwise, I will emote. I will talk about things because my emotional intelligence is pretty high, so I will have that dialogue.
Well, you're a writer. I mean,
right. So there you go.
You're an artist,
right.
so that's
right.
already suspect.
And I'm a Pisces, so.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay. Ooh, yeah. The seeker. He likes. Okay, so this, one of the questions that I want to pose to you both is, about rules. Do you have rules for dating, rules for getting to know someone or approaching someone that you practice in your life? And I don't even know if I should be asking you, Troy, because you know, confirmed bachelor.
No, I'm not a confirmed bachelor. I'm gonna put that out there. Might be someone
Sorry.
listening going, "Oh, wait a minute," or see
thought we were dating.
see me on your channel and go, "Wait a minute, that dude is all right, but
Now
he's a
they're
confirmed bachelor."
Now they're checking your
I'm looking
relationship
for a wife
status.
actually.
Really?
This year
Okay.
I'll be seeking my life mate. But I'm sorry. Ask your question.
Who
one
knew this was a dating show? Seeking his life mate. Find him on Facebook.
You never know. I know.
So pose your question again.
Well, do you have rules for dating or for relating?
No. I don't have rules, but I have like, it's not rules, but I ask. There's a number of questions. I don't want to say a battery of questions, but there are certain things that I
There's
ask.
a questionnaire, a survey.
No, it's not a questionnaire, but
A background check.
because I'm a writer. So, and I incorporate all this in my writing. So there's certain things I have and certain concepts that I've come up with over the past 25, 30 years. And like one of them is my four points of human interaction. So I have to ask you what your 4 points are. And usually everyone, like, you're looking at me now like, what the hell is he
okay,
talking
well,
about?
yeah, what are you talking about?
Like my 4 points of human interaction are nurture, socialization, trauma, and astrology.
Astrology.
And as a
Astrology,
Christian,
Yeah.
people freak out on that aspect.
Yeah, because they don't really know what astrology is, but okay.
But the month, time, and day you were born is incredibly significant to who
It's
you
not
are.
astrology is not a religion. I don't know why
it's-
people
right.
think that.
And people freak out. And so I ask those 4 points. And then, of course, this is my stuff. So you can come up with some other points.
That's what you need to know about a person.
But those 4 points, I'm giving them to you, and I'm receiving them. Anytime you interact with someone, you're getting and receiving those 4 points. Because I see you're a good-looking woman. I go, "Oh, what's up,
Thank
mama?"
you.
I give you my best black shit.
Yeah, okay. Beep. Don't do it again.
I give you my best black stuff.
Right.
And I don't realize that you were socialized in an Asian environment.
Mm-hmm.
You don't connect with that. So I need to know what your 4 points are when I approach you.
I mean, is that like love language?
I mean, again, that's that person that wrote love
That's-
language. Men are from Mars and Venus. That's their thing. So, yay, nay. I mean,
Okay, well,
but
we'll
this is
drill
my
down a
thing.
little bit
Yeah.
more into that because
Right.
it's pretty broad. There's a lot there. What about you, Kerry? You got rules, guidelines?
To some degree. So first of all, I always say it's an inside job. That I'm really concerned about who you are rather than what you accomplish, where you live, what your balance sheet looks like, and things like that, which we tend to kind of get fixated on. So some of the things I probably look for early on is a level of vulnerability and accountability that she's willing to have. I'm pretty clear. I mean, like, for instance, like I love what George said. He's up, you're attractive, things like that. That's great. So I'm probably going to, and I should also add this as well. I'm not really into, nor is my platform centered around frivolous recreational dating, just doing it, just whatever else. But it is about meaningful, engaged human interactions that can be solidified to, at the end of the day, build a Black community and perpetuate
Okay,
our Black
you
existence.
just managed to make dating sound like hard work and drudgery. Like, what's wrong with having fun dating? I mean,
I'm not
you
trying to
said
say you can't have fun in dating.
recreational. You said recreational.
Yeah.
Recreation means
So
we do it for fun.
So if I'm looking for a person who I think I'm going to be, I mean, I also want to have fun and things like that. But in terms of the early on,
Right.
particularly like in the first month or two, I'm going to get a sense of like who she is internally, level of emotional intelligence and things of that nature.
So you're about the serious part first, and then the recreation comes later.
No. I'm about this. I'm always want to have fun.
Right.
I want to throughout the entire time. I'm just saying that there are things that I'm going to look for in terms of, is this someone that I think I can connect with over the long term? That's what I'm saying.
We've got two Black men in the studio today trying to help us do better. I call it Messy Monday. Troy, Maurice, and Kerry Neal are with me, and you're welcome in 800-920-1580. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
On your period, sudden gushes happen without warning. But now you can say goodbye to stand-up gush fears thanks to Always Ultra Thins with rapid dry technology. It absorbs gushes 2 times faster than the leading store brand and gives you up to 100% leak-free protection. Hello, clean and comfortable with Always Fear No Gush.
Some people just know the best places to eat around town. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate. They know exactly where to go to get exactly what you're wanting. They know where to find the spiciest hot pot, the gooeyest brownies, and the tenderest, most flavorful portobello steak. Those people also know that safe drivers save 40% with Allstate.
Saving 40% is based on the national average premium savings for Allstate auto customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and vary based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the exclusive media sponsor of this light of ours, activist photographers of the Civil Rights Movement. A dynamic new exhibition on view now at the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. This light of ours showcases more than 150 photos taken by movement insiders from diverse backgrounds that reveal the vital work undertaken by a broad coalition of organizers and everyday people whose collective action changed America. This light of ours is one of 3 temporary exhibitions currently on view at the Skirball, which together explore issues related to civil rights, immigration, and pluralism. Tickets and more information for all 3 exhibitions are available at skirball.org. That's skirball.org. SKIRBALL.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Alrighty, so we got 2 brothers in the studio breaking it down, and hopefully we're going to learn something. Like, I do the Messy Mondays because it's fun and it's kind of funny, but I also do it because I want us to do better. I want us to know better so we can do better.
Right.
And I think we're always, as women, we always hear about all these rules, right? I used to work with Steve Harvey. He's got a whole book about act like it this and think like it that, and it's a little confusing.
Which is right.
And you know, and Miles and I worked for years with Michael Baisden, who talks about relationships night and day. And you know, his rule was always just transparency, which, you know, but then he's on some other page, as you may or may not know. Like a polyamory kind of page of being, you know, being transparent in that sense. So let's talk about you. You know, you were saying, Kerry, that you know, want to know the inside job, what's going on with the person on the inside. And of course, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me men, you want to know what's going on the inside, but it starts with how they look.
Yeah, I think we all would be not honest if we said that your physical appearance didn't matter. Physical appearance to men absolutely matters. It is huge is our initial point of engagement.
Right.
Let's just say for women, it could be, I don't know, whatever that may be. So I'm not a woman, so. But the thought is, for men, we are smitten by what we see. And what's interesting is some women will say, well, that's all surface and things like that. Oh, we get to the inside part too. We want to know about your personality and that sort of thing as well. But we are absolutely smitten by what we see.
Okay. And that's fair. I got follow-up questions. We'll get to that.
Sure.
But you said that you don't really have rules. You kind of have these areas of points of contact.
Right.
And one of the things you mentioned was nurturing. Does that mean that you need to know how a person nurtures you, or if they are nurturing, or if you can nurture them? Like, what is that?
Right. I need to know how you were nurtured in order to know if you can nurture me in a relationship. If you are nurturing in a relationship.
So family background, you're kind of.
Dominic, I can't even tell you the theories that I've come up with over the course of 25 years of dating. Another theory I have is the first date theory.
What's that? The
first date theory is a woman, and I use it in regards to a woman, but you can use it with a man as well. Like, who was this man's first date? But I date women, so I want to know how was your first date, and what is your first
date ever in life?
Yes, but that's not a first date with a man. Your first date technically is your dad.
Okay. So I mean, but a lot of women have that theory too. If a man doesn't have a good relationship with his mom, then run.
No, but I ask about that relationship, because if you didn't have a great relationship with your good, bad, or indifferent, I need to know what it is, because that sets the stage sets the stage for how your relationships will go from that point forward.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, let's say hypothetically, say you had from your perspective.
But you're not doomed. It sets the stage depending on what you do with
but it's
that.
But it's not bad.
Right. It can be.
It's just how you process it. Because think of this: you could have had an amazing first date. Your dad was loving. He was nurturing. Anything you asked, he gave it to you. Okay, so that's a great first date. He was there for you for everything.
And now you can never live up to it.
Exactly. Now when every guy you get, he has to be like your dad, because there has to be balance in everything in life.
Right.
So you gotta have. I have to know that first date was a balanced first date. I dated a young woman once, and I kept asking her about her dad, and she would never tell me anything about her dad. Eventually, she said, "Okay, Troy, my dad is in jail because he tried to kill my mom." And I was like, "Damn." So if I get with her, that energy is somewhere in her. So if it might, she's a great woman.
What if she went to therapy and healed her trauma?
No, she was fine. But I'm thinking she killed her father, tried to kill her mom.
But you didn't marry her.
But let me speak to that, brother.
It may not hit her. It may happen. We may have a kid. Next thing I know, I'm laying in bed. My son is mad because I didn't get him a pair of Nikes. He got a knife over me. So I need to know your family background.
So here's my thought on that, right? So I think particularly in our community, it's not uncommon for us to come from single parent households, or there be
trauma of some
kind, which is very, very common. We could talk about epigenetics, how trauma is passed on historically, genetically, and things of that nature. So a lot of times we're starting behind the 8 ball in many cases, right? Particularly emotionally, trying to engage another person. I do think it's important for a person to do the work and understand what that is. I have a little slogan that says, it may not be your fault, but it's your responsibility. Meaning that, okay, your dad tried to kill your mom. Got it. You had all these disadvantages that would certainly seem to put you at a disadvantage when it comes to connecting with another person. But I think we need to normalize getting therapy, doing the work, being honest with ourselves, and being authentic. And we as people, because we know this is where we come from, that we need to assign margins of grace to people, meaning that everybody is not going to be perfect in every area, but we should communicate and be authentic about our experiences and what we think.
Okay, so you said that, I think that's fair, being authentic, giving each other grace is crucial. But you said that women don't really listen, right? And of
Which
course,
is probably part of that trauma.
And I'm not trying to do tit for tat, but it seems like there's plenty of men that don't listen either. They ask what you like, what do you need, and what do you want in a relationship, and then proceed to not do that or act like they heard it, or why did you even ask? Were you just going through the motions?
So that never happens. Men and women miscommunicated, right? that never. I mean, of course, there are going to be times that men will say certain things or women will ask for certain things and we don't get it. It could be anything from the way she's asking, It may not be very
No,
specific.
I mean,
and
I'm not
direct.
talking about how that you have to do every single little request and desire that I express.
I'm talking about some of the
men
basic
that ask you, like, what's your love language? Or they ask you those kind of questions because they want to get to know you.
Right.
And then they don't even, it's like it doesn't impact their behavior at all. They're just like, I'm doing what I was doing anyway.
Yeah, well, what?
Why? I don't get that. Don't
know-
ask me then. Just do what you was going to do.
Well, I don't know. Forms follow function. The way you set up, the way it's the direct result of a lot of things is the way some things were structured in the first place. So, which is one reason why I go back to the whole thing like early on getting to know someone, because I'm intentional. I just don't want to date a bunch of women because financially it certainly is not cool. I don't really have all the time, so I want to be very purposeful. So. In that regard, but that's why I think early on it's important to kind of understand who that person is, and to what degree people are really willing to be honest about who they are and what they want, and what some of the stuff they've gone through.
Okay, Troy, you got a minute before news, traffic, and sports. We're going to continue this on the other side. Also want to get a take from both of you guys about why so many men prevaricate when it comes to women.
Okay, what's prevaricate mean? That's a big word.
Lie.
Oh, okay. Thank you for expanding my vocabulary this morning.
Yeah, sure.
You know, we're not going to jump into what you just said until we come back after break. But I think one of the biggest things Kerry's talking about being honest and open. I'm like, do people even know what the hell that means? Like, what does that mean? That's so abstract.
Very
What
true.
does that?
It means
what does that
don't
mean?
lie.
Yeah, but I mean, but everyone lies. So I mean, America was based on
But
lies.
there's lies and there's lies.
And I think in closing out this segment, I think one of the things one of the biggest issues and problems we have in dating is who teaches us how to date? How do you know how to date?
we're doing it right now.
Right. That's why we exist.
No, but you're right.
apply
So,
for it. We don't
even
so
know how to
your
date.
point is we don't know what we're
We don't
doing.
even know. We have no idea what we're doing. You were saying someone will ask you these questions, and then they're going to go ahead and do what they want to do because someone told them to ask these questions.
Right.
That's not who they are.
And they didn't tell them why they needed to ask.
Right?
the
They just
questions.
ask them
Yeah.
questions, and they go on and do what
Then,
they're going to
then
do.
you
That's
apply
why
that.
We don't even know what that
we
means, Dominique.
do. That's what we do. We do it. Keep it 100. We provide that level of insight. You got to go.
Okay,
through
hold
it.
that thought. Yeah, it's a
Okay,
hard
okay.
stop for news, traffic, and
Okay.
sports.
All
But
right.
we'll find out on the other side. Looking forward. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. In Maryland, opening arguments by attorneys in the federal mortgage fraud trial of Baltimore City's former state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, are set for today. The 44-year-old Mosby is accused of lying on her loan applications in the purchase of 2 vacation homes in Florida to hide tax debt and secure a lower interest rate. Mosby, who is African-American, has pleaded not guilty. We're now learning a new poll says that former President Trump is holding a wide lead over former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley in New Hampshire. The Monmouth University Washington Post poll has Trump at 52% in the state. Ahead of tomorrow's primary, Haley came in at 34%, up from 18% in November. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Shop the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Valid 1/4/24 to 1/24/24. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Sunday was a good day for both of LA's NBA teams. The Lakers got back to 500 with a 24-point win over Portland. D'Angelo Russell had a game-high 34 points and 8 assists. LeBron dropped 28. The Lakers play the Clippers Tuesday night. The Clippers are 13 games over 500 after a comeback win over Brooklyn. They ended the game with a 22-0 run. Kawhi Leonard scored 14 of those points in the final 5 minutes, 23 off the bench for Russell Westbrook. The NFL's Final Four is set for next Sunday. Kansas City is at Baltimore for the AFC Championship. 2 former MVP quarterbacks on display in this one, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Jackson is the favorite to win this year's MVP. Detroit goes to San Francisco to battle for the NFC title. Detroit is the only NFC team that has never played in the Super Bowl. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Got me a damn girl on my team.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe we have the best tag team in morning radio. Dominique DiPrima and Tavis Smiley. As the first black woman in Los Angeles to anchor a morning drive talk radio show, Dominique covers local politics like a blanket. Weekday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., Dominique passes the baton to Tavis Smiley, who talks to everybody about everything every day until 12 noon. KBLA's dynamic duo, Dominique and Tavis. It's no wonder the LA Civil Rights Department is honoring Dominique DiPrima this year at its Tell Our Story honoring black journalist leaders and storytellers event, Thursday, February 8th. Or that the John M. Langston Bar Association of Los Angeles is honoring Tavis Smiley at its 47th Annual Installation and Scholarship Awards Gala with its Community Impact Award on February 10th. We couldn't be more proud of Dominique and Tavis, who make black history every day, not just in February. If you're missing Dominique and Tavis weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Holla, yeah.
She's so smooth. So I'm interrupting my own shower to remind you to treat your skin like the queen she is with Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, packed with Olay's highest level of vitamin B3 complex. It's so moisturizing that it will give you visibly smoother, head-turning skin in just 14 days. People wondering, how'd she get so smooth? Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash. Also, try Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Who is in the studio on a messy Monday? Troy Maurice, a romantic comedy writer, and Kerry Neal, the chief change agent for Keepin It 100 LA. You were about to explain, Kerry, what Keepin It 100 LA does. Let's do that while we're thinking of it and how to connect with you.
Yeah, sure. So one of the things we talked about earlier in terms of Troy was saying, well, how do you date? How do you engage? I mean, who even teaches these things? Well, Keepin It 100 LA is a platform where we provide an emotionally safe space for men and women, particularly in the black community, to talk about their challenges with the opposite sex, and in many cases, we are demystifying and debunking the myths and misconceptions that we tend to have about one another based on our own experiences. And what we tend to do, what we've gone through, we sort of scale it to the entire population, right? And we believe that we provide the tools. So we talk about everything from who should pay for the first date, where you thoughts about prenup, or things of that nature.
Who should?
About the first date, I personally think that men should always pay for the first date, with the exception if the woman asks the man out.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what Keepin It 100 is. Yeah.
And the website?
It will be Keepin It 100. Oh, excuse me. It's K100LA.org. That's K100LA.org.
And the podcast?
And the podcast is Urban Birds and Bees, which is a very similar platform. We talk about a variety of things. We're going to a lot of different guests, relationship experts, people. We talk about the landscape and a lot of things to impact our community, particularly as it pertains to Black love. And you can go to Urban Birds and Bees, spell out urbanbirdsandbees.com.
All right, while we're doing this, Troy, how can we find your romantic comedy writing?
Yeah, they always tell me to say this, producers. I'm in various stages of development right now.
So we're gonna have to look for it on a streaming
Right,
platform
exactly.
or a big screen somewhere.
Coming near you in the spring, or the fall, rather.
Speaking of covenants, you're gonna come back and get on the show when you have your film out.
Right. Exactly.
You won't forget about KBLA, not at all.
You're iconic in this community.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. So when you say that you should make agreements, I was talking about
covenants.
Why men lie so much?
And what's the difference between agreement and covenant?
Yeah, we'll get into that. I mean, but I know women lie too. I'm not saying men have that market cornered, but a lot of men lie seemingly for no reason. They lie, as Steve Harvey would say, when the truth will do.
You know what? Before we do that, though, Dominic, let's be careful. The Socratics always talk about having, getting to breaking it down to the clearest form. So, why do men lie? I don't think that's an accurate statement. Why do people lie in relationships?
But right now we're talking about, I'm asking you specifically about behavior that I have observed from men.
Okay.
I'm single.
Okay, so let me.
No, you have a whole wife.
Okay, so let's do this.
That kind of stuff.
I think that my buddy always says this thing. He's been saying this for years. King's privilege. So, and then what I think he means when he says this is we live in, and people never take this into consideration. Women, we live in a chauvinistic, misogynistic society. And so men do believe that they have certain privileges in dating that women don't have. I mean,
Such as the ability to have multiple partners.
I mean, it runs a gamut. I mean, I don't, want to get into any heinous people that, I don't want to talk about.
I'm not on team all men are dogs. I'm not on that team, but
there are good guys out there. Even though we live in a misogynistic, chauvinistic society, there are good people. I have a bunch of male friends that are just good people. I'm a good dude. I have a bunch of male friends who are absolutely good dudes who do not cheat on their spouses or their girlfriends.
I know there's tons of those. I'm aware of that. But I'm talking about dating, right? When you're dating and you say like, oh, well, I'm single, but you're really not, or you are evasive. Why are you being evasive? Because I'm going to eventually find out.
Well, the thing is, if I can, okay, let's just be honest. Let's keep it 100.
Please.
This is the deal. If I am attracted to you, first thing is the physical appearance. I'm looking at your face. I'm looking at your body. I'm like, how do I get this? I want this. So I'm going to say, not Troy, but most men will say whatever they need to say in order to get you. And once we get you, and once we hear you go, then we figure we got you. So now I can be honest. Well, then they're gonna tell you how they feel about certain things, how they feel about your hair. They might even come out about some of the other women that they have because you've made that sound doing lovemaking. Now I got you. But in the beginning, I would take what he says like a grain of sand. I just toss away.
Kerry, you look like you have something to add. I want to ask, since you brought that up about that sound. How soon is too soon or too long to be sleeping with someone?
Okay, so I have thoughts on both. I think men lie for a couple of reasons. I think we lie because I think we're going to say what we think that you want to hear. Okay,
right.
I think we as men often find women very complicated and a moving target. So sometimes we may, on a macro level, say, well, let me just say this and I'll get in. The other thing, too, is I think that the reason why men lie is because you guys teach us to lie to you. Because when we try to be honest with you, we get a certain reaction, and we have learned over time just to sort of refrain from things, or
certain reaction being we don't like what you said.
Yeah, and particularly, not saying that you guys got to sign off on anything that we do, anything like that, but it's not uncommon where a guy said, "No, babe, no, you need to understand. I'm only doing." He said, "No, but why'd you such and such?" Like prejudging our actions and things of that nature. So a lot of times, we as men, we don't want all that stress. We kind of want peace. What men want, ladies need to hear this. Men want peace, and we don't get peace. We're going to do what we need to do to get peace. In terms of you're saying, in terms of having sex and what's too soon, whatever else. This is my theory. It may not be very popular, right? It is my opinion if you are looking for a significant long-term commitment, and you're in the process of evaluating such person you should be with, you should not include sex because it's just going to blur the lines. It's going to make things very ambiguous. I'm not saying ever. I'm saying I'm saying during the time where you're trying to evaluate is the person.
But getting to know. So what period of time is that?
I don't know. I guess it could be different for everyone. I think maybe generally speaking. It takes, I think, to really know a person like 4 to 6 months. I would say something to that that effect. And particularly if you're going to be with a person a long time, you'll have plenty of time to be able to explore that particular area.
Troy, you agree?
Yes and no. I don't think there's a time period. Now, I would tell my female friends, wait 90 days. And the reason I tell them to wait 90 days is because you can tell a lot about that person in 90 days because you don't want to get, I don't know what I can say on air. You don't want to get dematized early on. So if you give yourself an opportunity to meet this person, know this person, I think 90 days is long enough to get to know someone. But as far as the rule of having sex, the other thing I tell women is don't do something where if the relationship doesn't go the way you want it to go, now you're feeling bad. So if you gave sex up into 2 weeks, the relationship lasts 2 months, or let's say it lasts a month after that. Now you're feeling bad that you have sex. So don't do anything in a relationship, or don't have sex too early where if the relationship doesn't work the way you want it to work, now you feel guilty.
Yeah. One thing I'll say too, really quick too. So I'm a Christian, so I believe that you should wait until marriage before you have sex. Although I'm not trying to apply my standard to everybody, so I think it is reasonable to say that you've got to understand: is this the person that's worth you investing your life into before you start swapping body fluids and things of that nature?
Well,
so,
but are you saying you're waiting for marriage?
Yes, I am. That's why I said very, very clear in terms of my approach and what we deal with. We're only dealing with, for the most part, individuals who are seeking a long-term or a life partner.
I mean, because a lot of people are Christians and they're still not doing all those commandments.
And let me say this too.
They're not.
As being a Christian, I'm
they're
not
not
gonna lie. There's been
commandment
times
compliant.
I have as well. So I'm not trying to say that that's never happened, because it has happened with me as well. I'm just saying in terms of that's the standard I try to uphold.
Now, it's funny when we're talking about time periods of when you have sex. Some guys can wait it out, and then still going to be who they are.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I knew there's
They're
a
just
woman
strategic.
at one of the popular churches in Los Angeles, and this lady and I became loose friends. But anyway, she shared with me a story. The pastor used to always talk. I would say Donald Bell used to always talk about this woman because she was a virgin in her, I want to say, late 20s, early 30s. Great body, cutie pie, nice woman, fantastic woman. So this one guy was able to build a relationship with her, and they got married. That was his goal, to get with this virgin woman. They had ended up having a child, but then the relationship, he wasn't really into the relationship and the marriage as much as he was into her having been a virgin.
Yeah.
Wow, so he went all the way down the altar, all the way down to the altar just to get some.
That's what she. That's what she said.
Get a notch on his belt.
Isn't
so to speak.
how
But
insane is
relationships are complex too. I mean,
Of course.
we see things from the outside. We say, well, this equals that, and whatever else. I mean, we don't really true know that. I mean, if you ask me my previous relationship, I could tell you, well, this was lacking, and whatever else, and so forth.
But have you ever been married?
Yes, I'm divorced.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't wait the first time.
I did not. And I was I did not.
But do you regret that?
I do, and I regret some other things as well. I think I was obviously a lot younger, but now what I know now, I would do things a lot different, which is what I'm doing now, which is one of my passions of the platform that we established in terms of giving the tools and knowledge and understand the nuances of what it really takes to navigate relationships, particularly in our community.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to live up to those, those standards. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being aspirational, but most men and women are not functioning in that space, right?
I don't even know how realistic that is. I mean, and that doesn't define how your relationship is going to go. I have two friends. She walked into the room. Buddy says, "Oh my God, she's amazing." I'm like, "Look, she's looking for a real relationship. She doesn't want someone messing around with her, and I'll introduce you to her if you're going to be straight up in this relationship." He said, "I am." I took him at his word, introduced them. They haven't left each other's side in 30 years, 30 plus years.
Wow, that's amazing.
And so I don't think there's a rule. I mean, look at our history in this country. I mean, there was a time period in our society that our wife, she would have to go to the big house and have relationships with other men that she wasn't married to, and still had to come
forcibly,
back. Yeah. And so now is that a tainted relationship? Now we know that has caused issues in our relationship dating today because there's that trauma.
Yeah, not to mention all the subsequent different mechanisms in this country to further divide us, of which currently I think the internet is one, but that's another show.
I agree.
For another day.
Oh my God.
But again, I just think that we
the
put
impact
so
on social media today on our relationships,
especially on young people. But I think we put so much emphasis on sex, and I think it's a great part of a relationship, but I don't think that's the thing that's going to break you up or sustain you.
We put a lot of emphasis on sex in dating. I feel like a lot of folks, and I'm basing this on men and women I know who complain to me because I'm actually a pretty good listener, that they don't put enough emphasis on sex once they say I do.
That's probably pretty true.
There you go.
That's
How
pretty
about
true.
that?
Yeah.
And we're talking about it so much prior to that. Oh, don't do it here. Wait till this time with it. And then you get married. And it's not even really a priority, especially after from what I've heard, when you have children.
Yeah, well, but how do you keep your marriage together? How do you stay tight if you have different priorities? Okay, I want to talk about red flags when we come forward. What role do they play? What are they, in your opinion? And is it even important? Is that one of those things we just do too much of thinking about because of the internets? It's a messy Monday on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
City of Los Angeles landlords that own rent-controlled properties, starting February 1st, you'll be able to increase rents by 4% for your rent-controlled properties. An extra 1% per utility up to 6% can be added only if you pay the entire gas and electric bill. And don't forget to give your tenant an advanced 30-day written notice for rent increases of less than 10%. It is state law. Learn more about the rent increase at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org.
We're not just a thermometer recording and broadcasting popular opinion. We aim to be a thermostat, transforming the conversation about climate justice in our community. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk 1580.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the exclusive media sponsor of This Light of Ours, activist photographers of the Civil Rights Movement. A dynamic new exhibition on view now at the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. This Light of Ours showcases more than 150 photos taken by movement insiders from diverse backgrounds that reveal the vital work undertaken by a broad coalition of organizers and everyday people whose collective action changed America. This Light of Ours is one of 3 temporary exhibitions currently on view at the Skirball, which together explore issues related to civil rights, immigration, and pluralism. Tickets and more information for all 3 exhibitions are available at skirball.org. That's skirball.org. SKIRBALL.org.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Oh, I wish we could just keep the mic on while we're doing these traffic and sports, because you did miss something. Do have it. Get it. FOMO. You need it. Okay, right. We're talking with Troy, Maurice, and Kerry Neal. Kerry Neal, Chief Change Agent for Keepin It 100 LA, K100LA.org. Troy Malone, a romantic comedy writer, and we'll be looking for his projects on the big screen. So since you, Troy, have said you're looking for a wife, but you haven't been married before, right?
Never been married, no
Never
children,
been married, no kids. So talk to me about what are the disqualifiers and the red flags. I mean, surely you've dated. Have you ever been in love?
Oh, numerous times.
Okay. So then what happened? What happened?
I won't say numerous times, at least 4 times.
Okay, that's numerous.
You know what? I've been asked this question numerous times. Okay, I will say until recently. Okay, I think if there's a secular reason, at one time up until recently, my pockets probably weren't heavy enough.
Okay.
That's the secular reason.
Right.
The spiritual reason, and the reason I believe, is I just haven't met her. I believe, again, I think I was telling you earlier, I think my goal and my purpose in this journey is, as a romantic comedy writer, was to comprise information and data. And I can't be an effective writer, or I can't be, and it sounds funny, and it's like, yeah, get out of here, dude. But yeah, I think all the relationships that I've had helped me to be who I am today, and it helps me to be able to disseminate information to friends and family regarding dating, and help me to be actually a very good romantic comedy writer.
So what are the red flags?
So I don't live with that in my dating. Either you connect or you don't connect. That is just that simple with me.
Okay, so you said a nurturing. What was another
Yeah, my
one?
4 points of human, and I actually deal with. That's how I engage with women.
Right. So
my anybody actually 4 points of human interaction: nurture, socialization, astrology, and trauma.
Okay, so talk to me about the trauma piece.
So, well, of course, if I've dated women who had been sexually assaulted. Okay, so there are a couple things. There are a number of things that can come from having been sexually assaulted. You're very promiscuous. You're withdrawn. There's a bunch of things that happen with it. So I need to know what your trauma is. And that's extreme. Let's just go with she just wasn't nurtured in a loving environment. Now I'm a very loving and nurturing dude. Let's say she's not tactile. She's not touchy feely. I like that. That's not who she is. So I need to know. And based on some trauma, she's not going to be very touchy feely because it means one thing to her, whatever. So I need to know those things. I need to know what your 4 points are. And this is the one thing that we negate all the time. Again, as Christians, astrology is so important in your dating. I dated a woman and she was a Sagittarius, and we would always battle. Always battle. I'm like,
well, Sagittarians are feisty.
Like, but why do we battle? But Pisceans.
No, I'm a Gemini.
Okay.
But Pisceans,
the wordsmiths of the zodiac. Okay, go ahead.
But Pisceans and Sagittarius have a thing, and so you need to know. I'm not saying it's not. It's not like you can't have a successful relationship of Pisces and a Sagittarius, but those are just things that you should know.
Okay, so talk to me, Kerry, about red flags.
Well,
do you even look at that?
Yeah, I do. So, and before we get to red flags, a disclaimer. I mean, she's got to be a black woman. Period. Simple. So that's the first thing. Red flag with me, generally speaking, would be this: is that my sense of her self-awareness, to what degree where that is, and my also connected to that would be the level of how accountable she is, and just how my perception of how vulnerable she is. So those would be the big.
So if she's not vulnerable, she's not taking responsibility, those are red flags.
That would be red flag. I wouldn't deal with it.
Yeah. So and I, of course, I have to challenge you, even though we love to hear it has to be a black woman. But what happens if you fall head over heels in love with a white woman or an Asian woman?
That's not going to happen.
How do you know that? God's got jokes.
Okay. So I am absolutely certain that God is not going to make me fall in love with a white woman or an Asian woman, because black women were created for me. I was created for the black one. I believe that we belong together, and I believe that to my soul.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I'm relentlessly committed.
I mean, look, I'm not the one trying to talk you out of it, but
it sounds like it. I might say, yo, I'm about to take your black card, Dominique. What's up?
I'm not the one trying to talk you out of it, but we don't always control who we love.
Yeah, we do. Of course we do. You make the investment. You make the time. It's a very intentional thing.
You make the time, but either somebody turns you on or they don't.
Oh my God, I'm with Becky.
Either they turn you on or they don't. It's like people talking about people converting people over to being gay. You can't convert someone. Either they get you hot or they don't.
I am very confident
that
the landscape of black women in America, in LA, that I'm sure there's an amazing, God-fearing, vulnerable, ambitious, passionate woman who is African American among our people.
Yeah, I mean,
are you trying to tell me that doesn't exist?
No, I think there's lots of us, and I do think black women are the better choice. Don't get me wrong.
Black women, you guys.
But what happens is, whatever you don't, when you make a hard and fast policy. I mean, I prefer black men myself. But
I have a hard and fast policy, black women only. Definitively.
What about you, Troy?
This is, I don't even know how to skate around this answer.
Don't skate around. Just come straight down the middle.
Because I'm still, I always, when anything's controversial, I always go, look, I don't want to be canceled. I'm still, at this late stage in my career, I'm still trying to evolve, and I don't want to be canceled before I get going full bloom.
But no comment? Is that your answer? No comment?
No, because I don't want to set the group that I love, I don't want to set them off. And, I think love comes in all shades, sizes, and colors. But I was nurtured, raised, and loved by black women growing up. I love Latin and Caribbean. But if you're African American, Caribbean, we good.
Yeah, you sounded like you were running for president just then for a second.
Yeah.
But okay. So we only got a couple minutes left here. So I'm going to just give you guys a minute each. You teach about relationships on your platform. What do you wish people knew?
That it's important to do the self-work and to understand who they are, because if they're ambiguous or not clear on what that is, it's going to manifest itself in terms of who you engage as a partner, and understand that everyone has some form of family trauma as well. One of the things I also want to say that we have an event coming, if I can just talk about that real quickly.
Yeah.
So it's going to be at the Gathering Spot, which is at 5211 West Adams Boulevard. It's going to be on Super Bowl Sunday, and it's called Love and Football. And we're sort of merging the Super Bowl and Valentine's Day together. And this is on Sunday, February 11th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Gathering Spot, as mentioned. And so we'll be playing games. We'll be talking about things. We're also going to play the game Marriage at First Sight and the dating game merging together. So we'll be intentional about connecting people with relationship experts. And then you can stay for the Super Bowl party if you'd like to afterwards.
Excellent. Troy?
One of the things I do in my romantic comedies, I want to make you laugh, but I also want to make you think about relationship, and specifically relationships between African Americans. And in pursuit of that, I think that we have to be very forgiving.
Yes,
and
I agree.
operate from a place of love. And what is it, Corinthians 13? I think that is the best place to start when we talk about love. And if you start there, I think that's a good foundation of knowing how to love and to love yourself.
Yeah.
Assuming that's what our goal is. But well, thank you guys both so very much, Troy, Maurice, and Kerry Neal. I mean, for keeping it real and for coming in studio and sharing with us. I'm going to go to a Marianne Williamson quote on this messy Monday. She says, "Unforgiveness is like drinking poison yourself and waiting for the other person to die."
Yep.
Yeah. Tavis Smiley's up next. He's got a full lineup of great guests for you today. Don't forget to tap in.
Says that former President Trump is holding a wide lead over former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley in New Hampshire. The Monmouth University Washington Post poll